しらはよいの。つがいでそばにおって、それに比べてわしの旦那はどうじゃ。今もどことで遊びほうけておる。わしも遊びたい。せめて人じゃの遅いたい。待ってください。人里。
Episode number 7. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the banter that was happening between Kazuhiko and Miss Elf and the misunderstandings between all the different folks that were getting ready to go and adventure into this new labyrinth or dungeon and stuff. I love that they're like, oh, look at them, they live together, whatever. I love all those moments, and I laughed. I thought it was a funny moment. I thought there were funny moments. With kind of how they view these two individuals getting along together. Like, oh, I didn't know elves were like that. You know what I mean? I thought that was legitimately funny. But here's the deal. I've said it time and time again to where I think the anime shines the brightest when they are in Japan, they're focusing on Miss Elf. At this point, I kind of, man, I hate it because I feel like I kind of sound like a broken record where I've said it time and time again, where I just don't think that the other world is compelling enough. Now, when they introduced the Arc Dragon, I like her as a character. I think she's quirky and fun and everything else. But as they've transitioned between World 1 and World 2, whether, you know, from the dream world to Japan, like I told you guys last week, and if you weren't here for last week's episode, I've said it again and again to where like it just introduces so many more questions. And a lot of those questions are, you know, how close does it need to be to Kazuhiko to actually travel with you? You know, can he just be in the same vicinity? If that's the case, why has nobody traveled before? What's the limitation to the power? Is it every single night? You know, is it without fail? If you are not in the same vicinity, then what ends up happening to you or your body? Or, you know, do you just stay in the world that you were at? What happens to the body in the other world? You know, Kazuhiko has said like, oh, all his stuff is always there. Nothing ever happens. So he imagines that it just goes into like a secondary dimension. There's so many questions that introduced that we're never going to get the answer to. And I've made peace with not getting the answer to any of the questions that I genuinely have about how the things work. But what ends up happening when we go back and forth is those questions become more prevalent. What I mean by that is the questions that you're like, oh, forget it. I understand the anime is not about that. They're not going to go that deep. But when it kind of it gets pushed into your face over and over and over, you're like, okay, well, effing answer the goddamn questions then. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to continue to make this a thing to where you're going to constantly remind me of like, okay, well, how does this work? How, like, I need to know the details. And you're never going to provide them. I think that's pretty crappy. Now, let me not get lost in the sauce. With this episode, there was a few things that occurred this episode. The first and foremost is obviously, you know, they were getting ready to go and be in the adventures, or like the adventurers were getting ready to go and take on the labyrinth. And they were talking and getting information for all the different people that were there. We had the fun moments with, you know, the elf and Kazuhiko kind of being outed with living together and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. Then we got some fan service. The elf, you know, had a really cool fan servicey moment where she was trying on a lot of the different, what do you call like Sahara, like desert wear and stuff like that. You know, there was a really cool moment this episode, and I'll put it on here on screen. And they were getting together here, and we had this really cool fan servicey moment, and it was like ba-dam, boom, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was really, really cool and really, really cute. And I like it quite a bit. You know, I thought that was a really cool moment this episode, faux show. And I genuinely really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I definitely am not going to be mad at any fan servicey type moments. You know what I mean? As long as it's not pushed too much. Then we had the Mewy stuff, you know, the Meow Meow kid where, you know, they saved and they're doing really well. They're learning language and they deciphered a lot of different gems and stuff from the dragon. And we kind of learned that, okay, maybe there's something going on with Arkveld the dragon. Arkveld? No, that's Monster Hunter. Whatever her name is, the Arc Dragon. Then we transition into the Sorcerer Guild stuff, you know, and there's apparently some villains there, I guess, that are trying to take advantage. And then we went back to the dragon, and she was mad that they didn't bring her, that they didn't bring the Arc Dragon any, like, bento box or beer or anything. But Kazuhiko folded really fast and invited her to the, not spa, the onsen that they're going to go to, like an onsen trip. So he's going to have to go and sleep next to her and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And then the episode ended with the villains like blowing like, ha 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 ha, I caught you guys, or whatever like that. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, Kazuhiko was being overworked as well this episode in Japan. So I guess that's a little nod at the corporate hell that goes on in Japan. But yeah, for the most part, I thought the episode was a little bit boring. I mean, it was fine. It was a fine episode, like, but I can't say that I was like really enjoying my time this week. The fan service moment was cool. The Art Dragon stuff is fun. You know, I think the Art Dragon is so fun. I like the way that she's really vibrant and expressive, and I like how she got excited about going in the onset. I think those were the 2 highlights. Well, the 3 highlights. Fan service, Art Dragon, and then the beginning of the episode where they were bantering about like living together and stuff like that in front of all the adventures. Those are the 3 kind of like highlights of the episode, and it made the episode about a 6.5 out of 10 for me. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully the episode's better, but like the Otherworld stuff just kind of is not my jam. It's not what makes the show really charming for me. So those are my feels. Let me know yours in the comments below. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you disagree, or tell me I'm right. Tell me you do agree. Whatever you feel, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.